We're back after a bit of a longer break between races, and of course that break brought plenty of news with it. Over the last weeks, plenty of upgrades have been made for the final part of the season. Porsche has probably brought the biggest update package of all. While they didn't expect to be at the sharp end of the grid instantly, they were at least hoping to challenge for best of the rest, but so far that hasn't really happened. With the big upgrade package, they hope to get the edge over nearest rivals McLaren and to compete with Alpine for the remainder of this season. Also interesting is the internal battle of their drivers about who will keep their seat when Sebastian Vettel joins next season. Doubts have arisen over the future of Mick Schumacher. Haas is not happy with his performance, still standing on 0 points. Schumacher himself stated that he is surprised by this statement, as Haas, though better than last season, didn't really provide a car that is capable of fighting for points on a regular basis, and that they have to rely on things going wrong for other teams. He is not having the feeling that he would be too far away from his experienced teammate Kevin Magnussen. During the summer break, Dream F1 was hinting at a return to all continents in the next season. While Africa has been brought back to the schedule with the South African Grand Prix, Australia went missing in 2022's schedule. That is set about to change in the upcoming season. Organizers claimed they had a deal in place but didn't want to tell with which track exactly. All they want us to know at the moment is that the return of Australia will not be the only expansion for next year's calendar. The full 2023 schedule will be presented with pre-season testing. For now though, we're looking forward to round 8 of the 2022 Dream F1 season. We'll be racing through the Belgian Ardennes at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. The almost precisely 7-kilometer long circuit is the longest in the calendar and a spectacular and challenging high-speed venue with lots of fast and flowing turns. The track has seen some renovations over the past year, including a bigger runoff at the iconic Eau Rouge and Radillon and the return of many gravel traps that were concrete before, reducing the margin for error. Now, as usual, let's take a look at our fastest lap from yesterday's qualifying session. And once again, 2 times in a row now, Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and alongside him is championship leader Charles Leclerc. Then we have Lando Norris with a very impressive qualifying performance in 3rd, George Russell 4th, Sebastian Vettel also great performance in qualifying yesterday in 5th, Aston Martin has also brought some upgrades for Spa-Francorchamps. Then we have Esteban Ocon Carlos Sainz, Lance Stroll, Valtteri Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, disappointing qualifying for him. Ourselves, we start from P11, Daniel Ricciardo starts right behind us from 12. On page 2 we see Yuki Tsunoda, Kamui Kobayashi, Sergio Perez, Alex Albon, Fernando Alonso, Nick de Vries, Nico Hülkenberg. Porsche's upgrades not really being effective in qualifying yesterday. Zhou Guanyu 20th, 21st is Mick Schumacher just ahead of his teammate Magnussen, and then for the final row of the grid we have Nicolas Latifi and Pierre Gasly. And here we are on the grid in 11th at Spa-Francorchamps, and it's lights out and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix, and it's a good reaction. That is Lewis Hamilton just ahead of us into La Source now. This is also always a bit of a tough situation through here. Oftentimes we've seen contact and crashes into turn 1. This time everything went right. Now towards the iconic Eau Rouge and Radio. Behind us, Ricciardo and Tsunoda kind of side by side through there. Now we have to defend from the McLaren behind us. He is a little bit alongside us, and now to Les Combes, the first heavier braking zone. We move past, or we stay ahead, and he even loses out to Tsunoda behind us. We have to let Hamilton drive away into the distance for a bit. A couple of car lengths we are behind him. Now through here, we close up a little bit, and behind us Tsunoda is still busy battling with Ricciardo, so that gives us some space to breathe, so we kept position after the start of this race. And continuing on, here we are in lap 2. Hamilton ahead of us has now finally pulled away, definitely. And behind us there's still Tsunoda and Ricciardo. Kind of not the best run through Blanchimont. And then into the bus stop chicane. Tsunoda breaks past us, so we lose a spot and are now down in 12th. But as we are starting lap 3, DRS will now be activated, which means that on the long Camel Straight we might even get the chance to get back into 11th by passing Tsunoda. Nope. He had a good exit out of La Source. So we lost a bit, but wow, through Eau Rouge and Radio we're really closing the gap, and now with DRS and a lot of speed and the better momentum we move past Tsunoda once again, though he has the he brakes late. Oh, into Les Combes, we kind of push him off the track. Not the cleanest move there, but we're past Tsunoda. He might not be too happy with it, but at least he kept it ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. And we are now back in 11th. Ahead of us, this is still Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton battling. You can see them in the distance there. Bottas once again a good qualifying, and now impressively he's holding it in the top 10 for Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo, kind of one of our rivals in the Constructors' Championship, so we hope that Hamilton makes it past, and maybe that we can get close to him as well. So we are really closing up here through that fast last bit of the track, and now we are actually close enough so that we might be involved in that battle. Tsunoda is also still behind us as he was trying something into La Source, and now let's see what we can do through Eau Rouge and Radio. Here we go. Well, Hamilton is trying it here already. Maybe he should just wait for the DRS, which we have now. Bottas closes the outside line. Hamilton then tries the inside line, but we have so much more speed than both of them that we move alongside and pass through La Source. Amazing. We take 2 positions and are up into P9, kind of our favorite position in the last 2 races. And back into the points we go, and we will look at the replay of that move that kind of felt a bit like the move Mickey Häkkinen pulled against Michael Schumacher in the year 2000. Here we are. Look at the speed advantage that we have, and oh, Bottas and Hamilton even made contact there. It seems like Hamilton didn't see me on the outside and then thought he could push Bottas a bit to the outside. Then they made contact, but luckily everything went alright for them and they were able to continue. And so were we here in lap 8, oof, as we run wide through Stavelo, I think it is. Losing lots of time on that part of the track that is flat out. So as we were just pulling a bit of a gap to the cars behind us, that has now enabled them to come much closer. And there is Daniel Ricciardo just behind us now. So Ricciardo made it past Hamilton and Bottas as well. Bottas still ahead of Hamilton, so he dropped down to 12th. Though they need to consider strategy to make some changes. Ricciardo almost making him. Oh, he makes a move in La Source as we run wide. I thought this was already over, but then we opened it a bit too much. Oh, look how close we are there, and behind us that is Valtteri Bottas. That is gonna be very close through Origin Radio, but that worked actually. And now with the DRS advantage, we can open our rear wing and pull away from Ricciardo instantly. And here we go into Les Combes. That looks well. And we're back into P9. And let's see if we can pull that gap that we had before once again. Well, speaking about gaps, there is no gap between the top two here and also the top two in the championship. For 8 laps, Max Verstappen has held the lead against Charles Leclerc, but he's been coming closer and closer over the last couple of laps, and this time he might be close enough to drive an attack against Max Verstappen. There goes Leclerc, yes, the inside line towards Les Combes and ahead of the braking zone even. He moves past the Dutchman, and Charles Leclerc, our championship leader, takes the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. However, this is just 2 laps later. Verstappen still close to the back of that Ferrari. There they go, out of radio they come. It's a good exit from Verstappen, he's already very close. Leclerc though pushes him towards the outside line. He defends the inside towards Les Combes. They go, this is going to be interesting, but Verstappen pulls it through later on the brakes around the outside. Impressive move by Verstappen to retake the lead here in Spa-Francorchamps. Lap 11 was also interesting for us, as this was the point where we made it into the pits. On our steering wheel you can see we are running in 7th. That of course is because yeah, other cars have already pulled into the pit lane, and now it's our turn to do so. Pit limiter activated. Very slow pit lane this is, with a speed limit of 60, and out of the pits we go. Quick pit stop, 2.6 seconds. There's another car just ahead of us. I think it's an Aston Martin that stopped there. Might have been Lance Stroll probably. Oh, as we put off our speed limiter, and there goes Lewis Hamilton. So I think that's an interesting or good tactic even. They went for a massive undercut, pitted very early at Mercedes, and therefore Hamilton moved past us, and he made use of that clean air he had, because on track the Mercedes just didn't seem fast enough to move past it. Oh, look behind us, that is Lando Norris. So we moved past Norris. He must have had a dreadful pit stop or outlap, because remember Norris started from P3. Of course he's been dropping down throughout the race, but he was still running high in the points, and now he's behind us as we were sitting in 9th. Oh, running right through Pouon, and that enables Norris to just slip through, so we drop down to P22 for the moment. Back on to the sharp end of the grid, as Verstappen and Leclerc are still battling here in lap 14. They both are yet to make a pit stop, and Verstappen now is the first one to blink, defending an undercut, a possible undercut from Leclerc. They might have seen that this was very powerful for Lewis Hamilton, but for Verstappen this posed problems as he came out, well, a bit behind Lance Stroll, but Lance Stroll with a poor exit out of the corner there. He is now in the way of Max Verstappen, and Verstappen is losing valuable, very valuable time against Charles Leclerc right here. And he needs to make it past that Aston Martin as quick as he can. A quick word on Aston Martin here maybe, as we see that battle, is that, well, their upgrades seem to work a charm. They're both running in the points, but for now, let's look at Verstappen towards Blanchimont. He was trying it, well, a bit of dirt kicking up there, and Lance Stroll slams the door on him as Verstappen tried it around the outside towards bus stop. Now he can open the rear ring for the first time against Lance Stroll towards La Source turn 1. Maybe he can try it there, but Lance Stroll once again forces him towards the outside and then closes the door. Verstappen needs to be a bit smarter here, because Lance Stroll he's losing so much time there. Lance Stroll still out on that old tires, and Verstappen needs to take advantage of his fresh ones. Now this might work. He's once again on the outside, but this time he's fully alongside, so Lance Stroll can't just slam the door on him, and he moves past the Canadian. And well, lap 16 now, and we're still just behind Lando Norris. We moved up into P13. We should be fighting for points, I think, once again, when all of the pit stops have cycled through. So there's some guys still yet to pit. DRS, very powerful, once again through La Source, this time down the inside. We move past the McLaren and are up into 12th for the moment. Still now running in 11th, still just ahead of Lando Norris. We see that Esteban Ocon just made it out of the pit lane, but look in our right rear mirror, Lando Norris alongside him. We go through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, but we run a little wide. That is not what you want to do there. So Norris moves past after a very, very daring move there, but it paid off for him, and Ocon also takes advantage from that situation and moves past us, so we drop down into P12 once again, and Ocon with fresh tires now trying to make it past Norris ahead of us, and back to the top of the grid. Charles Leclerc just made it out of the pit lane, and I must say it's not that surprising that he came out ahead of Max Verstappen, who lost lots and lots of time, multiple seconds probably, behind Lance Stroll. But now, he has DRS already. Verstappen trying it against Leclerc. Leclerc kind of defending, but he keeps it. He keeps in P1 as he's late on the brakes, around the outside on fresh tires. What a great battle here for the lead, and we still have 4.5 laps to go and to enjoy this battle for not only the race lead, but the championship lead as well. The closing stages of this race prove very, very exciting, both at the top and for us as well. It was a bit of a slow race until the pit stops, probably. At least for us at the top, it was kind of interesting from lap 9 onwards. But now it has really come alive after the pit stops. A 3-car battle here for the final point spots. Of course, we're still running in 10th. Ocon tried to make it past Norris there, but we take advantage of that and move past the Frenchman. So we're up into P9 once again, but Ocon almost round the outside here. Very unusual spot to make a move, but he tries it and he almost succeeds as he surprises us. But then we have the better line through the corner and manage to hold on to 9th. Now let's see if we can pull close to Lando Norris as well. as this battle is not over. Our career best finish is 9th. We've done that 3 times already. In Canada, in Australia, in Austria, and in Germany last time out. Germany, in Hockenheim, we even had the fastest lap in the end, so that is our career best finish. If we pass Lando Norris, of course, we could improve on that and add a career best finish of 8th. So, we'll come back to that later, as we now watch the battle for the race lead. Leclerc managed to hold on to Verstappen, but he couldn't use his fresh tires to pull away from him and to pull outside of the DRS window. So now Verstappen on the camel straight once again into Leclerc. We have seen so many moves there. This time they almost make contact as Leclerc squeezes him on the inside, but Verstappen back into the race lead. And now also lap 20. This is our battle here for P8. We just move on here through La Source. 3 laps to go. Can we attack Lando Norris this time out? I think we should be, but this time we didn't have such a good launch out of Radion, so we have to pull closer and closer. Here's the braking zone. Oh, Lando Norris, almost we make contact with him, but he manages to hold on to 8th, so good defending here by Lando. I thought we might have it, but obviously we didn't, as the sun is going very low, and that definitely isn't, this definitely is planned, that we're racing here in sunset, and not because I messed something up with the time progression settings ahead of this race. But some beautiful lighting here, and yeah, will be awesome to finish here with the sun setting and with some amazing battles up and down the grid. But we're feeling that our tires are now starting to struggle on that second stint. I feel like with these many battles we used up the tires a lot more. We may have also flat spotted them at some point, but still we are close to Lando Norris. I think the struggle is there for everyone. Now the bus stop chicane, we try the inside line, or we back out of that move, and Ocon takes advantage from that. We've dropped down to 10th once again. And more drama was about to happen for us here in lap 21, as our tire situation now really worsened over that last lap. And now behind us, Sergio Perez almost all of a sudden pulls up. And now towards the bus stop, we once again defend the outside. He holds on to it down the inside, outside, and now it's the inside for that left-hand turn. And we even drop out of the points here. And I can already tell you there was no chance for us to get that position back from Sergio Perez, as our tires were just dead there in the end. But what is definitely not dead is that battle here for the race lead and for the lead of the championship. Last lap here towards the Camel Straight. This is Leclerc's best chance to move past the Red Bull. He tries the inside line, oh, and now pushes a bit towards the outside to get a better entry, but that worked for Verstappen. He defended his lead there, turned in on the outsides, almost a little bit of contact once again. Now Leclerc tries to kind of force him out of the way here, side by side once again, but Leclerc just doesn't find a way past. Now it really looks like Leclerc has that tyre advantage through Pouon. That would have been impressive, but that could have very easily ended in tears. The sun is setting here in the Ardennes, but Verstappen's hopes for the championship, they will only increase here, as if he can keep it now, as we are already on the run towards the bus stop chicane. The last chance for Charles Leclerc to make a move, and it would be the third championship leader if Verstappen can win. At the first time that Verstappen leads the championship here towards the bus stop chicane. Leclerc tries it around the outside, but he has no chance. Max Verstappen holds on to the lead. Max Verstappen is the first full-time race winner here in Dream F1 2022. Max Verstappen wins the Belgian Grand Prix and takes the championship lead with it. And let's look at the result of today's race. Max Verstappen not only wins the race, but he also set the fastest lap, so he gets that extra point. And Charles Leclerc just behind him in second. Carlos Sainz third. Good result for the second Ferrari. George Russell in fourth. Lewis Hamilton, it looked so bad this race for him, but an awesome recovery drive sees him finish in fifth. Awesome news for Aston Martin as well. They haven't scored a single point up until today's race. Now they have both of their cars high in the points. Sebastian Vettel finishes 6th, shows that he still has it in him and that Porsche might have been absolutely right to sign him for 2023. Lance Stroll finishes 7th, just behind his teammate Esteban Ocon 8th, Lando Norris 9th, so Ocon made it past Norris in the closing stages as well. Sergio Perez just clinches that final point. Disappointing race for him. He, unlike Lewis Hamilton, wasn't able to move up after a difficult qualifying for him. Ourselves, we finish just outside the points in 11th. Daniel Ricciardo once again unlucky in 12th. Fernando Alonso 13th. A disappointing race for him, unusual in this season. Yuki Tsunoda 14th. Bottas then in the end dropped down to 15th. Mick Schumacher beaten his teammate impressively today, but still far outside the points in 16th. Alex Albon 17th. Hülkenberg, very disappointing race for Porsche in 18th. Their upgrades didn't work here. Monza, also a high-speed track. Let's see if they will struggle in Italy as well in the next round. Pierre Gasly 19th, Nick de Vries 20th. Then we have Magnussen, Kobayashi, Zhou Guanyu, and Nicholas Latifi in 24th and last. And let's look at what that means for the Drivers' Championship. And I have already told you, Max Verstappen now has taken the lead of the championship, but he's just 6 points ahead of Charles Leclerc in second. Then we have George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. They still have outsider chances, but they need to start winning races. I mean, they've been consistent this season, very consistent. George Russell has also won the opening race, of course. But now Verstappen and Leclerc are starting a little bit to pull away. Then we have Carlos Sainz in 5th, Sergio Perez 6th, Alonso best of the rest by quite some margin in 7th, Ocon then his teammate behind him in 8th, Lando Norris 9th. Then we have Hülkenberg, Vettel, he instantly enters the championship in 11th, Bottas 12th, ourselves 13th. Then Lance Stroll, also he moved up a lot of spots. Yuki Tsunoda in 15th. Then we have De Vries, Gasly, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Zhou, Latifi, and Schumacher, Albon, and Kobayashi are the only drivers yet to score. Constructors' Championship, this is gonna be very spicy at the end of this season as well. Mercedes are still leading that championship, but only by a slim margin of 5 points now, ahead of Ferrari in second. Red Bull also has the chances. They are just 28 points behind Mercedes in third. Then Alpine pretty much clear, best of the rest in fourth. McLaren still 5th. Aston Martin instantly moves up to 6th with that great result today. They're just ahead of Porsche thanks to the better finish of highest finish of P6 by Sebastian Vettel today. AlphaTauri then in 8th, Alfa Romeo in 9th. Ourselves, our team STV Racing, we are in 10th, ahead of Haas and Williams. And that has been it once again for Dream F1. Episode 8 is over. The next race will be the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. It will already be the final European round of the championship. I'm very much looking forward to this one, as this is hopefully another great race like today was. And I hope to see you all there. Subscribe to not miss anything going on this channel, especially not the next episode of Dream F1. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all the next time. Until then, goodbye.